I know why. There we go. I've been talking for a while. Sorry, folks. So welcome. Sorry about the sound problems. Please go to that chat box on the right side and tell us where you're joining us from. I'm really excited to be talking about this topic. I'm just going to give everybody a minute here to join in and introduce yourself. If you go to that chat box on the right side, tell us where you're joining us from. We will have we'll get things on the way. It also helps confirm that you guys are hearing me. Okay, we got Becky Clowers from Seattle. You know what? I'm going to be focused on the slides, so I'm not going to be able to sort of name everybody, but you can all see where everyone's from. And I'm really excited to be talking about this topic, how to use your website to increase enrollment. It is such a critical piece of your enrollment marketing strategy. And you have to excuse me, I'm a little bit coarse in the throat today, so I'll be clearing my throat a lot. I apologize for that. So without further ado, I think we're gonna get moving on this presentation. And I also want to mention, if you have any questions ongoing, put them into the chat box on the right side of the screen, and I'll do my best to address them. There will be a question period at the end, but a lot of people show up to these, and and oftentimes, I miss the questions as they come in. So I do apologize if I missed your questions, but I'll do my best at the end, the last 10 or 15 minutes, to open it up to questions on the topic. And if you ask them throughout the webinar, I'll try to, catch them through the history of the chat. So without further ado, we'll kick this off. Again, my name is John O'Landon. I'm the CEO and founder of Hubly. We're an enrollment marketing solution for private schools. We help schools all across the U.S. and Canada and overseas as well. The information I'm going to give you today is really based off helping schools generate thousands and thousands of enrollment inquiries. So I'm going to be showing you the common mistakes we see and solutions, and just the right way to approach things for small private schools. So let's get it moving. Okay, here we go. So now, okay, so first off, I just want to say, if you take a look at this picture here on the right side, see if you can kind of relate to that image, right? Paper calendars and binders and piles of sticky notes and cash. Things are kind of coming in from all over the place. Managing all these things through a lot of sort of old school paper-based systems, and all the while there's this computer sitting there that has access to the internet and tools that can be used to increase enrollment and streamline the process of getting parents through the many steps it takes to actually meet you and come into the school and go into the admissions process. So you're in the right place if you're not actually a marketing expert. But you do need to get more students enrolled in your amazing school. And number two, there are better ways to market your school, but you don't really have the time to learn how to do it necessarily because you're so busy running a school already, and that doesn't give you much free time. And and if you did have more time, you'd probably rather spend it in the classroom or developing the program. There's so many things that you have to work on. It's really hard to prioritize becoming a digital marketing expert. It's a hard thing to do. So I also want to say I strongly encourage you to stay for the full presentation. It should be 60 minutes in total, with 10 to 15 minutes at the end for questions. And I encourage you to stay because I'm going to review a variety of solutions to the most common challenges of enrollment marketing. But I'm also going to be telling you how you can download a free ebook that we've created called How to Get Started with Facebook Ads. Facebook is a great place and way to advertise for enrollment, to connect with the right kind of parents. But you do have to stick around to the end to learn how to get that one. So next slide here. So this is Patricia from Fort McMurray, Montessori, and they're in Alberta, Canada, and she has your typical, small private school Montessori director story. She started out as a teacher and eventually opened her own school. And as you can see in her quote, she said, "I thought this is something I should know how to do myself." So she tried to do that herself, but after getting nowhere after a number of months, she realized that running a school doesn't really allow her nearly enough time to become a proficient marketing expert. So we met Patricia at a conference a few years back, and she signed up with us there, and we helped her get to full capacity in 6 months with 40 new students, and she's been working with us ever since. And this is Brian Gordon from Global Montessori Academy. We have a lot of Montessori customers. We love Montessori schools. We have a lot of other kinds of schools as well. So there's a lot of Montessori case studies here, but please, if you're not from a Montessori school, please don't assume that this doesn't apply to you. This information applies to any private school setting. Also, very similar things too, like summer camps or daycares. The challenges are actually very consistent across all of those similar kind of segments of the early education market. So, I like to show Brian Gordon after Patricia because he has a really different background than her. He's a computer programmer, and he has an MBA, but he's running a school, and after having a few false starts with outside marketing agencies, you can see his quote here. He says, I wasn't sure if I should bring this to my board, but I'm glad that I did. He was a little hesitant, but he decided to move forward with us because of our laser focus on working with private schools. And, we helped them get to capacity in about 9 months with 70 new students. And that was 4 years ago. And he's been working with us ever since. Oops, I just skipped over somebody. So this is Laura McDonald. And she actually, when she started working with us, she had just opened up her school the year before, and she was able to get that school up to about 12 students on her own in their first year. But then she realized that if they wanted to meet their enrollment goals and expand more classrooms, which was their goal, they needed outside help. And it was actually a business advisor that she works with that found us and convinced her to work with us as an outside service provider. And as you can see in her quote there, being a new school, we were afraid to spend money on marketing. But thankfully, she had a good business advisor, and she signed up with us, and we helped her get 50 more students within 12 months' time. And this is Kiva Hampton, one of our many non-Montessori customers. She is the principal from Inner City Christian School. Now, Kiva is also very interesting because she actually does have a lot of digital marketing experience. She really knows what she's doing in that area. And as you can see her quote, she says, being experienced with digital marketing, I didn't want to hand this off. So, but she did realize that she's running a school now, and she's really busy. That, again, just keeps you so busy running a school. So after signing up with us, she actually hit our record and got 18 new students in 2 weeks. And so that's really cool. We were super excited to see those results. And so just a couple of examples of what you can expect if you use the right strategies. Not necessarily working with us. These folks could have worked with other people, but just saying that, and they, if they had the time, they could have done it themselves. But if you use the right strategies, you can have those kind of results. Excuse me. So here's the core concept behind all of the information I'm going to show you here. So number one, your website is the most critical piece of your enrollment marketing strategy. So before you invest in any advertising, you first need to make sure your website is designed properly so that it doesn't just talk about your school. Rather, it drives the highest number of parents to take the action of inquiring and booking a tour. Number two, you really need a complete system. You need more than just good ads. That is the only, ads are just one part of a complete system. And until you have that whole system built properly, you really should stop spending any money on any ads, because the probability that you are wasting your money is just way too high. And number three, you shouldn't do this alone. You need a team of people with different skills. There are just too many things for one person to learn how to do well enough, especially with the very limited time of people that are running schools. So you need to work with, you need people with creative skills. You need people with technical skills. You need people that can think strategically. And then, you need to build a marketing system. And there's just too many moving parts that require very different talents. And it's just not practical really for one person to cover all that ground on their own. And even if that's their full-time job, it's quite a lot. So before I kind of break all this stuff down, I just want to take a minute to introduce who we are, our leadership team. We have a combination of digital marketing experts and software experts, and also some of the most sought-after luminaries in the education world. So John Landon, that's me. I'm the CEO of Hubly. I come from more the software and digital marketing side. Mark Selden is our CTO, and he's also the founder of the CGMS, which is the largest Montessori teacher training company in the world. He's also quite an expert in the software world too. Teresa Beretta is our COO, Chief Operating Officer. She also comes from the software digital marketing side of companies. And Tim Selden, he's on our board of directors, and he's also the founder of the Montessori Foundation and the International Montessori Council. And just beyond being just an incredible person, he is one of the most sought after consultants and just thought providers of the education space. And Jonathan Wolf is also one of our advisors, and he works on his own, but he also works in coordination with Tim Selden too. He spent a lot of time with us and still does, helping us to make sure all of these folks really help us, guide us to understand the solution that we're building for the private school world. Again, I apologize for all this clearing of my throat. I'm just getting over something. So moving on to the next slide here. So here's a big question. Why has enrollment marketing become such a big challenge, right? So if you take a look at this graph on the left, you'll see that there's 25% more private schools in the US than there was 25 years ago. And at the same time, the chart on the right kind of shows us that the average family is having almost half the amount of children as they used to. So these two trends are making a much more competitive landscape for private schools, right? So things are really changing in this world. So something that also exacerbates the problem is that the average age of a school administrator is 49. Whereas the average age of a parent that's coming into the earlier years with their first child is 28 years old, and predominantly it's the by, I would say, 9 to 1, it's women that are engaging that process according to our statistics and what we see. So 20 years ago, really, these two demographics had the same communication behaviors and expectations. Everybody went to the same places, the same publications, and had the same expectations around how to communicate, the same behaviors. But today they are very different, right? Every year, the people that are running schools, I mean, they stay in these positions for a while, especially if they own the school, and they get older every year. Well, the customers actually stay the same age, right? I just want to think about that. Have you seen that yourself? With your experience. So the truth is that even with all this data that I'm showing you here, surprisingly, it's never been easier to fill your school. So that might sound surprising because I'm kind of drawing a picture that sounds like, wow, it's just going to get harder and harder. But really, if you have the right information and you know the right strategies, you've never been in a better position. It's actually, you've never really had it better as a school owner if you know what to do. So the truth is, you're probably aware that there's more women in college today than ever before. In fact, there's more women in college than there are men in college today. So this means that the average young mom that's engaging your advertising and your enrollment process is more educated, and they're professional and they're working. And these young moms are much more aware of what better education means. And this demographic is more engaged than they used to be, and really trying to find the best education for their children. And we can see this from our data. We've run hundreds of enrollment campaigns, and we track, what's great about digital marketing is you can track who's doing what and what's driving their actions. And these young educated moms place a very high priority on finding the best educational opportunities for their children. And it's really easy to reach that mom and get her to book a tour at your school if you use the right strategies. But the problem is today that most schools are using the wrong marketing strategies for this particular demographic. Because that's changed especially over the last 10 years, has changed very drastically. So this is myth buster number one, and it's one of the most harmful misconceptions that school leaders are experiencing today, unfortunately. So it's the belief that having a good ad will lead to new enrollment. But the truth is, it's what happens after the parent actually sees or clicks on the ad that is far more important to the enrollment growth success. So I'm going to explain all this, of course. Let's see here. Okay, so if you think about all the steps that happen after a parent clicks on your ad before they enroll their child in your school, there's so many steps. Parents have to go through many steps to make that decision. They have to, first of all, learn that you exist. Then they have to contact you. They have to schedule a tour. They have to, there's a lot of labor involved in that. They have to make room in their calendar, somehow remember to show up amongst the millions of other things that are going on in their inbox and getting pinged left, right, and center. Maybe they have to take some time off work or get a babysitter. And then they have to get in the car and drive over. So it's a lot of steps, a lot of physical labor and attention and time and effort to put in to actually just get into your school for a tour, right? So if you don't have a system that's tracking each step along the way, then there are just so many opportunities for parents to fall through the cracks, and you won't even know where you lost them in this long process. So that's something that we're hearing from schools all the time. They're losing track. Sticky notes are just not helping them keep track of everything. So there is this huge chasm between the moment a parent sees your ad and clicks on it until they actually show up for a tour at your school. This is exactly why ad campaigns for most schools just fall short, right? And why most schools spend a lot of money running ads and get zero results. So I'm going to show you how to bridge that gap. So the next time you run an ad on a platform like Facebook or Google, or there's other ways too, you'll have the confidence in knowing exactly what is working and what isn't working. And that information allows you to, grow your enrollment very, very quickly. So I want to take a second and put everything into context using an analogy that should frame kind of the rest of this presentation and make everything really simple to understand. So what are ads really? So in terms of an enrollment marketing strategy, ads are, so also like just to frame this, this analogy, you could call an enrollment marketing strategy kind of, think of it like an engine, like a car, right? So the Facebook or the Google ads in this analogy of a car or an engine, really they're the gasoline. Okay, so so your inquiry process, meaning once somebody actually clicks on the ad and then takes the next step and they're going through this process of the inquiry and booking a tour and everything, right? So what's your inquiry process? Well, again, in terms of an enrollment marketing engine, your inquiry process is the vehicle that drives the parents into the school for the tours. And what's the result that you're looking for? Well, that's pretty simple, right? You want to fill up your school. You just need to get more parents in the door for tours. That's the critical step. So here's the thing. Every day I talk to school leaders that are buying ads. They're paying hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars a month, and they have no idea if they are getting any enrollment growth out of them. Like they don't know if students came from Facebook or from a print ad in a magazine or from Google. So this is why the most important thing you can do is make sure that you have a complete system that captures all of the inquiries and allows you to know which ads are working and which ads are not working. Because buying ads before you have a complete system, to use this analogy, it's like buying gasoline and pouring it into a car that has no engine, right? Like that would be crazy. So ads by themselves, it's not enough. You can't just, you can't have a car that has a broken engine and then go buy premium gasoline and think that the gasoline is going to make the car drive. It doesn't, because the engine's broken, right? It doesn't matter what kind of gasoline. Any kind of gasoline would be a complete waste of money. Does that make sense to everybody? Because I'm always trying to find the right analogies, and I think that one, to me, speaks the most. But, first, we need to talk about the second most harmful myth, which is that your website should be designed to promote enrollment. I'm going to let that sink in for a second. It's a myth. The myth is that your website should be designed to promote enrollment. So one of the most common mistakes we see is that school websites are designed to promote enrollment. They are designed for a parent to gather enough information and make a decision from the website itself as to whether this is the right school from their child. So that should make you think, wait a second, right? Because the big problem with this is that parents can't actually gather decision-making information from a website. First, they can't know if this is the right school without first coming into the school, right? That is the only way they can actually learn what they need to make an enrollment decision, because it takes a full body experience, right? The decision can't be made from a website or an email or a video or even a phone call, right? So your website is not there to sell them on your school. It's there to sell them on booking a tour so that they can show up at the school and meet you and experience the environment firsthand with all 5 of their senses. Because until that happens, they can't make an enrollment decision. There's no way to gather the information that they need. Does that make sense? So I'm going to show you how you should be using a website to promote tour bookings. But first, I'm going to show you the results that you can expect when you do it properly. Okay, so I'm going to show you a case study here. This is a case study from one of our customers, Rising Scholar Montessori. So before working with us, before they were working with us, they were not getting any inquiries from their website. Their main website, they had many long paragraphs about Montessori education, just general information. The problem is that it was turning away people that were not already interested in reading a lot about Montessori. Even if that person was an ideal, perfect fit for their school, it was sending them away, because their goal of coming to the website wasn't to read a number of paragraphs about, Montessori. So after we set up their enrollment marketing system, they started getting 30 inquiries per month. So let's take a look at the system we built for them. It starts with all the traffic that they were getting from their different ads and from organic Google searches. And then when parents clicked on the ad, they were taken to a website that's designed properly, where they are incentivized to fill out an inquiry form. And once they submit that form, then they're automatically sent to an automated tour booking system. So what this means is the administration of the school no longer spends money to send traffic to a website just to have parents leave the site without inquiring or scheduling a tour. And they no longer have to spend any time communicating with parents until they actually show up for a tour. And this is critical, because the last thing you can afford to do is spend money on ads that send people to a website that just turns them away. Like, would you agree? Obviously, I think that probably resonates with everybody. So let's talk about the third most harmful myth, which is that you should follow up with inquiries personally. The truth is, your inquiry process should be as standardized as possible, because one of the best ways to impress a millennial mom today and build a sense of trust that gets them to come in for a tour is to show them that you are extremely well organized at the initial inquiry stage. This is critically important. The analogy I like to use when talking about this phase is it's like dating for marriage, right? If you think about how large of a decision this is, it's huge, right? It's in the top 3 or 4 most important decisions that parents would make in their lives. So, who am I going to marry? Where am I going to live? And what school am I going to, entrust with my children's futures, right? So, when that 30-year-old mom is checking out schools, it's like she's going on first dates, okay? She's not looking for a relationship just yet. She just wants to figure out who she wants to go on a second date with. And in this regard, the tour is like the second date, so to speak. Does that make sense? So until this parent is ready to go on the second date, meaning until they're actually ready to show up for the tour, your communication should be completely standardized. Your emails and your phone conversations should be more or less identical for everyone. Everyone asks the same questions. You should be prepared for answering the same questions that they always ask. And, that's how you build the trust with them at the inquiry stage, so that they're more likely to show up for the tour. And then you just do what you do, when they come in for the tour, bring on those warm and fuzzies and start building that in-person relationship that only can happen in person. Does that make sense? Right? You got to get them face to face with you before answering too many questions and trying to sell the actual enrollment. So now I'm going to show you how an automated inquiry management system works. But before I do that, I want to show you the results that you can expect from using a system like this properly. So again, at Rising Scholar Montessori, they were doing everything the old school conventional way, manually organizing every step of the process. Lots of emails, paper forms, and sticky notes and spreadsheets, etc. So very, very time consuming, very inefficient. Now what they have is a dashboard with a simple list that's easy to manage and track where everyone is in the process. This automated system is working in the background, handling the email follow-ups and the reminders and form entries, etc. And they just have one place to go and log in and see the status of every parent that's currently going through the process. Therefore, nobody could possibly fall through the cracks. And the things that need to happen to progress parents from one stage to the next are happening automatically. So if you turn on a good ad campaign, but you don't have an efficient system that catches all of these inquiries and follows up with them, it's likely that there's going to be a scenario when you get pulled away from the office, you're covering for a teacher or something, those inquiries start to pile up, they fall through the cracks, sticky notes get, put in the garbage by, they fall on the floor, they end up in the recycling bin, right? So if you're paying to run ads, then each inquiry you don't follow up with is literally just wasted money, right? But it can be worse than that because it can also put the school in an unprofessional light. So as a story, recently I was talking to a school director who told me that one of her teachers was sick and she had to cover for her for a few days. During that time, she wasn't able to follow up with the inquiries. Some of them just weren't even getting answered. And one of them went onto their Facebook page and wrote a negative review about the school, probably because they were like offended or just frustrated. Now, that might be a parent that you might want to avoid anyways, but those negative reviews, they live online forever, right? And they can unfortunately hurt your ability to connect with other great parents. So you want to avoid scenarios like that, of course. So when we work with a school, we custom design your inquiry management system so it automates the whole process after the parent clicks on the ad until the point when they show up for the tour. So this is how you bridge that big chasm between your ads and the tours. So it not only automates the process, but it also tracks the performance of every stage. So let's first take a look at the results of this campaign. So they spent $1,000. So during this case study, they spent $1,000 on the ads. From that ad spend, they got 100 inquiries, which turned into 12 students at a cost of $83 per student. So let's just walk through each step. So that means 100 people hit the web page and filled out the inquiry form. And by doing that, they gave the school their contact information, right? Then 10% of those inquiries self-booked a tour and on their own because the system automatically led them to a tour booking system. And then sent them a series of emails. So if somebody didn't actually book the tour, there's like 90 out of the 100 that didn't yet book tour. The system will keep on, in a pragmatic way, following up with these parents and inviting them to come back and book a tour on its own. It does that every few days for about a week and a half or 2 weeks. And of the 10 parents that ended up booking the tour, 7 of them showed up for the tour. The other 3 actually canceled from the reminder notifications. There's a link to cancel so that the director gets notified that they're not waiting around for a no-show. And then a lot of schools have told us that parents come in and they express a lot of appreciation for getting these reminders because a lot of times parents just forget. I'm sure you've had no-shows for tours that were booked, and the parents are they're really busy today. They got a million things going on, and it slipped their mind or something happened, and and the tour, though, is really important to them. This is obviously a big, important decision. So if you send them a reminder that helps them remember to come, they like that a lot, right? Because they need the help and they appreciate the help. Also, they know that these reminders are automated, right? And that's what helps them see the school in a very professional light, right? Just like when you go to a dentist or a doctor's office these days, you schedule an appointment, you get automated reminders. That's very normal, and they're very used to that. So, so now there's still 90 people that filled out the inquiry form but have not yet booked a tour. So this school would actually, in addition to doing tours, they would run monthly open houses, and that was also managed through our system. And before each open house, the system sends out an automated invitation to anyone who's ever inquired and not yet come into the school. So over the next few months, they got another 20% of those 90 inquiries to sign up for the open house. And about 50% of those open house signups showed up, which is pretty standard, and 70% of them enrolled at the school. So the school had a 70% success rate from the point at which a parent comes into the school for a tour or an open house and then enrolls. And that's pretty standard. That's very normal across the industry. Generally speaking, schools are great at doing tours, and you just got to get the parents in the door, right? That's the real challenge. So now what's great is whenever they need more students, they know exactly what ads work best and how much it will cost them to get each new student, right? And they even know how long it'll take for those students to end up getting enrolled. So you can really do some planning based off a lot of knowledge that's really accurate. And so this kind of marketing system is what every school should have, because you should be able to control your inflow of new students, kind of like a water faucet. If you need more, you can turn it up. If you need less, you can turn it down. Once the system is built properly, it's really as simple as turning a water faucet up and down. That's what every school should have for sure. So now I just want to run you through some kind of the standard features that help save a lot of time on administration busy work. Digital forms make managing data very, very efficient, right? You don't want to be collecting paper if you don't need to, especially when a lot of times forms you can't read the handwriting or there's missing information. You got to follow up on and chase people around to check some boxes or something, right? So when parents fill out these forms online, it's automatically added to the database. And, parents really prefer digital forms today because they can fill them out on any device. A lot of times they can pre-fill information that's already been collected. It just makes everything so smooth and easy, and it just saves you hours and hours of old school data management from paper. Now, our appointment scheduling system is really great for any appointment management that you need: tours, open houses, observations, even parent-teacher conferences. So you want your enrollment marketing, your enrollment system to have an automated appointment system because, again, it's a much better experience for the parents, saves you a ton of time, and it handles those reminders, that keep the parents coming in. You get way more tour people showing up for tours and open houses and being appreciative that you reminded them. And by the way, they really prefer getting automated reminders over manual reminders because, in the back of their head, like they know that with technology today, this type of process is automated, and it concerns them that if they see that you're sending manual reminders for things, it kind of concerns them because they're like, why would you not have a system that automates this so that you can focus your time more efficiently on much more, get away from busy work so you can like be more face to face with kids and do much more important things, right? Parents want to see that. They understand that stuff. So in summary, however you go about, building your marketing team, building your website, figuring out how to use your website, these are the three main things that you need to do. You need to make sure that any ads that you run all send parents to the same website with the right inquiry management system. And that website has to be designed the right way so that it doesn't send them away because there's too much information and it's not focused on their goal at that moment, which is to book a tour. Their goal is to book a tour. It's not to read many paragraphs about your educational philosophy. The right place to learn about that is by coming in for a tour. And you need to standardize the way you follow up with inquiries so that you appear more professional and businesslike, which results in more parents coming in for the tours and being ready to fall in love with your school because you've taken care of the, sort of the busy work process of it. And since this process should be standardized, it should be automated, with a digital system, because when you perform standardized work manually, that is literally the definition of busy work, right? And more importantly, a system like that allows you to track how much you're spending per enrollment and create hours of margin in your day for doing things that have a much bigger impact on the kids, right? So listen, you can do all of this stuff. I hope you realize that. With or without us. I'm not, this is something that is completely within your hands, completely within your grasp. There's many ways to accomplish this. So this is critical. These are the things that you need to do. So at this point, I'd love to ask, what do you think about all this stuff? Because I'm not exactly sure why you showed up today, but I bet I can guess. So you want to stop wasting time and money on running ads without ever knowing if they actually create any tour bookings or result in enrollment. And you want to free up your time from boring, repetitive activities so that you can spend more time on higher value and enjoyable tasks like being in the classroom or interviewing new families or finding the best teachers to come into the school. And you want to give parents a communication experience that's really professional and it impresses them so that they're more likely to show up for the tour after they inquire. Pardon me. And you want to be able to keep your school enrolled to full capacity, or at least to your desired capacity, with a nice healthy waiting list that is always staying at the consistent size that you need it to. And you want to have enough inquiries coming in month after month so that you're not afraid to turn away parents that you don't believe are really the best fit for your school. You want to protect your school environment. You want to make sure it's not about good people or bad people, but just the right fit. You want to make sure that people are the right fit for your school, because that has an impact on everybody. And you know that you're capable of doing more. You definitely are. It's just time, right? You just need to get busy work roadblocks out of the way so that you can focus on doing what's so much more important. So you can do this. It's not, if I can figure it out, trust me, you can figure it out. So, you've shown up here today, you've made this a priority. Hopefully you've taken some notes and, maybe you're even like a little bit excited about, about some of these changes. And I want you to know that, the right website approach and inquiry system can change your school, and it can have an incredible impact on your life day to day. But you've got to know exactly what to do at your school specifically, because all schools are a little different. Of course, you're unique. You're in a different neighborhood than other schools, right? A school in Silicon Valley needs to do things a little bit differently than a school in Utah or Toronto, Canada. So, also, everyone's got a different mixture of staff and talent levels. So what are the communication expectations of the parents in your area? What tools do you have expertise in? What tools, are those ones really the best tools for this? Or maybe you should switch to another tool. So that's where we come in. You've got two options, basically. Option one is, obviously, you can take this information. It's pretty high level, of course, can only get so deep within 45 minutes to an hour, but I'm pretty sure like most schools and most people in your shoes, you're very busy and you don't have all the time it really takes to figure all this stuff out. So the obvious question is, how can you quickly and easily get the right system set up at your school the way your school needs it? So now is when I'd like to get your permission and promote what we do at Hubbly. So just let me know. Please go to that chat box on the right side. Let me know if I've got your permission to show you how our solution works and give you just a quick snapshot of what we do. And just but I'm just gonna give you a second to give me permission to do that. I don't want to pitch, so to speak, to people that are not interested. Oh, I've got a yes there, so okay, that's all I need. I'll move forward. Thanks, Bronwyn. Thanks, Becky. Wonderful. So okay, so I'll move forward with that. And then we'll get into the question period after as well. So okay, so what we offer is a hands-free enrollment marketing solution. So what we do is we give you a customized website designed specifically for enrollment marketing to optimize the amount of inquiries that actually turn into tours and enrollment. Secondly, we build an automated enrollment marketing system so that it just takes all that manual busy work out of your life. You save hours a day. You get a user-friendly dashboard to easily manage all of your enrollment prospects. The system reminds you when you need to take action, so it's really helpful in that sense because, again, you're always going to be getting busy and things are going to fall through the cracks, and you just forget. It's very easy to forget things with the fires that are always popping up that you have to put out. It's nice to have some reminders, and you get unlimited support too, and done for you customization. So this is really a managed solution. So no one has to really learn new technology. It's as simple as just logging in and seeing what's going on. We make sure that it's customized, and you get unlimited customizations for anything that changes or needs to be updated. We're always here to implement all that stuff for you and help consult for you so that you can actually bounce ideas off of us, and we can help you determine if they're really the right fit for you or not. So just on to the next slide here. Our platform has all the tools that are needed to manage this process from top to bottom. So it's got web pages and digital forms, the automated email follow-ups, reminders for you and the parents, and it's got the automated scheduling system for the tours and the observations and the parent-teacher conferences, all that stuff. And you get a very simple enrollment management dashboard to log in and always see what's going on. So again, we manage this entire system for you, so you don't have to learn our technology, how it works, and you can just focus on the kids and the parents and the program, all the stuff that is much more interesting than sending reminders about meetings and things like that. And then along with having the confidence to run your ads and know that you're not wasting your limited budget, you will also free yourself from hours of administration busy work so that, again, you can spend that time on higher impact activities that can only be performed by you, right? The things that are really critical for you to do. You want to be able to dig into those more than anything else. That's what's the most important. So just a little bit about us. We are a mission-driven company. We only work with schools because we believe that you guys do the most critical work in society. There's nothing more important than giving young children a great education. That fixes everything in our future. So it's our mission to help you focus on that and do the best job you can by simply, we just try to remove the roadblocks that are holding you back. All the business operational busy work, hours of that every day we can remove for you. And that's our goal. That's our mission. So again, just to review some of these case studies, we helped Patricia get 40 new students in 6 months. We helped Brian Gordon get 70 new students in 9 months. And we helped Laura McDonald, here she is. We helped Laura McDonald get 50 new students in 12 months. Now they're expanding their school. They're going to be able to take up to 80 students. We're going to help her fill up those next 30 spots as well. And Kiva Hampton, again, she holds our record with 18 new students in 2 weeks. A big point of pride for us. We love helping schools, but we love doing it in in record-breaking speed as well. So if you work with us, you're going to have confidence to run ads knowing that they're going into a system that actually tracks and measures their performance. Remember, the ads are just the gasoline. The gasoline has to be put into an engine that actually works, and it's also important to have, your car, that vehicle should have some gauges, some gas gauges and things like that, so that you know how far it's going to take you, right? So without that information, it's pretty scary to, first of all, put gas into an engine that doesn't even work. Well, that's an obvious waste of money, but to also just be driving and not even know how much gas you have and how far you're going to get, that could be scary, right? So you're going to have more margin in your day to focus on doing what you really love to do. You're going to automate your entire enrollment marketing process. You'll be able to present parents with a professional appearance at the very beginning of the relationship when they're most sensitive to that. And you'll get to increase the retention rate because you're going to be in a position to be very selective, right? You need a lot of inquiries coming in so that you're comfortable being selective and only allowing the best students, the best fitting families to enroll in your school, which means that's beyond just having a great school. The second best way to ensure a high retention rate is to be selecting the families that best fit your school and, fit with the other families that are currently enrolled, right? Because when you get the wrong family in there, which everyone has experienced, they can cause a lot of problems, cause a lot of heartache. And when they leave, sometimes there's a trail of disaster behind them, and they can take other families with them. And that nothing is harder than losing families and sometimes even staff, right? And that is such a drain on your time and your resources. So you want to make sure you're getting the best fitting families into your school. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up to questions and let you guys know as well that we are offering a free strategy session. And along with that, if you book that free strategy session this week, you can, if you decide to work with us, which obviously we'd love to work with you if it's a good fit, we'll make that determination. No matter what, you're going to walk away with really helpful information. That strategy session is a value in and of itself. You're going to get information that's specific to your school, and will help you determine if we're the right solution, or maybe one of our partners that we work with is a better solution for you. We're going to help you make that determination, and because just like you want to make sure you're getting the best fitting families in your school, we also want to make sure that if we are going to work with a school, it's a good fit as well, right? So we'll help you figure that out. We'll get you on your way, give you some clarity. I'm going to actually drop down a button that you can click on to go book that if you want to just move to booking that. So you should see a button there now to book that free strategy session, and then at any time you can go to hubley.com/getmorestudents, and then you'll be able to book that anytime. If you book that session this week, then or let's say today's Friday, so you've got 7 days. If you book that session within the next 7 days, you'll be able to not only sign up with us, but also get a 50% discount off our services. So that's exclusive to the folks that are joining us today. So please do let me know if you have any questions. I'm here to answer questions. I'll be sticking around for about another few minutes. If there's no questions, then I'll just close it a little bit earlier. But I'm here to answer any questions about anything I've spoken about. If what I've said has caused any confusion, please let me know. I'd love to clarify that. I'm happy to talk about other things that are related as well. There's a lot of different elements to enrollment marketing that maybe I didn't cover today. I'd be happy to share insight on those too. What to do with web pages, what to do with Facebook ads, what to do with Google. How to formulate a good follow-up email once somebody does inquire so that they're more likely to book a tour. I mean, there's so many different elements to this system, and that's really, again, the key. There's this process is full of many steps, And each step really takes a strategic approach. Even the way you write an email from the point of an initial inquiry to the point of, a reminder for an open house, actually those emails should have a bit of a different tone, and you actually need to know how to respond to, where the parent is at psychologically within this process of making this big decision. So please take a moment, go to that chat box on the right side, and and let me know if you have any questions on anything. I'm here to answer away. So please fire your questions away. Okay, folks, again, okay, so no questions so far, okay. I know it can take a little time. There's a bit of a delay when you got to formulate the question, type it in there, and then it takes a little bit until it actually pops up in the chat. So I'm just going to wait around. I want to make sure that I don't close this down too early and miss anyone's questions. Sometimes people are just having technical difficulties, or there's like internet, challenges. So we'll just wait for a minute or two, see if there's any questions that come in. Okay, folks. So there are no questions today, and that's I guess that means that I answered everything preemptively, and I want to express appreciation. It's an honor to have you all have joined me. I appreciate you giving me your time. Your time is very important, and I really do appreciate it when people join these webinars and make this information a priority. And if you want to book a session with us, a free strategy session, in the least you'll walk away with information that'll help guide you towards what you need to do. And if you do that in the next 7 days, we'll make sure that you'll have an opportunity to sign up for our services, with a 50% discount. So hopefully that would help everybody. And even if we're not the right fit again, we're gonna give you information that's going to be helpful, that's actionable, and we'll even lead you towards maybe the right partner of ours that might be a better fit for you. Just like you guys do again with enrollment. Somebody comes into the school, they're going to be better served by going to a different school. We'll do the same for you guys if that's the case. And again, thank you so much for everybody. Have a wonderful day. And you can always follow up with me personally with my email address, jono@hubley.com, jono@hubley.com, with any questions about anything. We're always here to help. We don't need to get paid for it. We want to help schools. That's our mission. So please don't feel like it has to be a transactional thing. We are here to help you. We care about you. You are our heroes, and we really appreciate what you do. Thank you for what you do for the kids, and we'll talk to you all soon, I hope. Have a wonderful day.